Hello everyone, this is Crode giving you a shoutcast in a game between Grubby versus MTW Dimaga. This is part of the GSS, I believe GSS Invitational Finals. So we'll see how these games go. We have Grubby spawning as the green Protoss player on the bottom right hand side of the map. Meanwhile, Dimaga spawning as the red Zerg on the top right hand side of the map. This is going to be Zerg versus Protoss here on Tall Dream Altar. And Tall Dream Altar has really evolved as a map since it was introduced back in the GSL and has also seen a lot of ladder play. A lot of Protoss players now will be going for that fast forge expansion, allowing Protoss players to get a very easy second base and being able to just power drone and get a very strong economy early on in the game. You can see back over here, Dimaga currently just mining away. There's not much he can really do to try to stop this forge fast expansion. And it's going to be interesting to see whether Grubby goes for the Nexus first, or if he tries to go for something a little bit different and goes for a forge first. And based upon what we see from Dimaga, it could go either way. Now, Grubby does take a look around on the inside of the space. He sees that there is no extractor, knowing that he can go for a nexus first because those speedlings will be delayed for quite a large amount of time, even if the spawning pool is placed down. So I believe, actually no, Grubby gonna go instead go for a forge first, and then perhaps wait a little while longer and then either go for a cannon, or he could go for that Nexus. We'll just have to wait and see, as we now see Grubby just patrolling in this location here, making sure that it is not possible to set up a hatchery for quite some time. Now, based upon the timing, Dimaga should be able to train up 4 Zerglings, get 300 resources, and then try to set this up over here. But the Grubby's probe will be there, and now warping in a pylon for the block. Nicely done there, as Grubby now backs off with this probe, takes a look around, once again sees that there is no gas, and we'll see what his next building will be. It may either be the Nexus or the cannon. It is going to in fact be a Nexus there, as the Zerglings will be significantly delayed. Also a probe blocking a pylon here, as we now see a queen and some Zerglings being trained. Harvester count 16 drones versus 17 probes. It looks as though Grubby is not chrono boosting out probes. A little bit curious about that. Perhaps he's microing too much over here, as this one pylon will get taken down in just a moment. Grubby has delayed that hatchery for far long enough, and it looks like that pylon will get destroyed in just a moment there. And now we'll see how Grubby responds to this. Grubby is going to keep this probe over here on the front door. It does take a bit of time for a gateway to warp in, but as soon as this gateway, as soon as those Zerglings just try to pop up over here, Grubby will be able to warp in another gateway, and that's why Grubby is making sure to hold his focus on this probe. He is continuing to just train more units back at home, and if this gateway does become completed, a cybernetics core could be added instead, and no real losses there. The Zerglings, however, are trying to take down these destructible rocks, so Dimaga establishing a quick third, it appears, as Dimaga already taking down the rocks before his second base is up and running. And it was very important that Dimaga actually did something with these Zerglings early on. He invested a decent amount of resources and larva into these Zerglings, and if he didn't take down these rocks or do something with them, it would have really set him further behind. He could have tried to put a little bit of pressure on Grubby's front door, but most likely knowing that nothing could really come of it, as now we are going to be getting a Zealot here to try to stand in between the Cybernetics core and this pylon. Most likely will be on hold position, not chase down any units, as we are now getting that warp gate research. Grubby sitting on a 29 probe to 26 drone advantage. The third hatchery has already been placed down, and I do believe there was a scouting probe at some point, but the scouting probe did not see this one hatchery yet. Perhaps the probe will just wander around a little bit more. There is an overlord in position, will be able to catch sight of the front door location here, as we are now training in some stalkers. 30 drones versus 33 probes. Both players are just going to go very worker happy, trying to get strong economies, chrono boosting out probes, and injecting larva for more probes as well. Grubby slowing down his probe production for just a second, now getting back up into things. And this is where Protoss players have one of two options. The Protoss player can either go for a Stargate and try to go for Void Rays, or they can go very, very heavy into gateway units. And if they're able to get very heavy into gateway units, with that level 1 weapons upgrade, they may be able to overwhelm a Zerg player who is trying to overexpand. So Dimaga now sitting on 38 drones compared to 39 probes. This one hatchery now up. Most likely we are going to get some spawn larvae in as well. And we are now also getting another macro hatch by Dimaga. So a very interesting play here. Roach War now finally coming into play. 6 drones still being trained, as Dimaga should be able to take the economic lead in just a moment. Grubby does have a couple stalkers in position. Level 1 weapons upgrade about to be completed, only needing 40 more seconds. So level 1 weapons upgrade allowing those zealots to really cut through those roaches in just a moment there, as we are now going into quad assimilators for Grubby. So Grubby is really starting to crank up his production. He has a lot of stalkers over here. He has a number of proxy pylons set up all across the map. Stalkers are now going to simply move out. Zerglings are deciding to back off. No metabolic boost yet, surprisingly. But Dimaga does have decent creep spread, and it looks like the creep spread, unable to take down that last creep tumor, able to burrow just in time. And now with no observers yet, Dimaga is going to have a very strong movement speed advantage across the creep. Stalkers quickly checking that there is no hatchery over here. It is going to be 3 base versus 2 base right now. There are Zerglings and Roaches. Proxy pylon now being set up, and there is a bit of an engagement. The Queen may overextend himself. No, not going to overextend. The Spying Crawler doing a little bit of damage, but quickly sniped down. No transfusion there, as the Roaches and Zerglings are trying to engage, but without that metabolic boost, the Zerglings are having a very difficult time getting within melee range. Roaches are going to start focusing down more units, but Grubby now warping in a round of Zealots straight into the battlefield, as the Stalkers are now focusing down Roaches one at a time. The Roaches, the reinforcements are coming in rather quickly. Dimaga still getting injections off in the middle of the battle. Very important, as we now see Immortals and a Robotics Bay being trained up. Most likely this Overlord's days will be numbered. Sentries are now all being warped in as well. I'm not quite sure why my computer is a little bit laggy there, as we now see the Roaches are trying to make their way out. Still, Dimaga only running off of 4 gas. He has not taken his gas at his natural expansion yet. At his 3rd base, he has taken 2 additional extractors as well. Not quite sure the reasoning behind that. Now getting 2 additional extractors down over here. He is teching to tier 2 and now droning up 19 drones. So we are going to see a very heavy drone count, and Dimaga may, if he's able to keep this game going long enough, he should be able to ride this economic wave, as he now takes the lead in Harvesters. Evolution Chamber now being added as well. Roaches and Zerglings clearing out some proxy pylons all across the map. Is not going to find this one over here on that high ground. Yeah, does not see it. It's just in the fog of war there, as both players are just perhaps trying to regroup a little. Sentries, Stalkers, and an Immortal as well going to take down and now warp in a Nexus here. One of the things that a lot of Protoss players like to do is warp in a pylon here and then build gateways to prevent any Zergling run-bys. Very important, as Zergling run-bys have been the death of many probes, as you have witnessed. And now an Observer revealing all of these creep tumors here, as the Zealots able to take them down in just a quick moment. And we'll see whether or not Grubby does warp in these gateways, as I think he will. Slight food advantage, 123 for Dimaga compared to 105. Observer still keeping this position here, as an Overseer now being morphed into play. And now we also see a Zergling hiding out over here. Still no hatchery being taken, so it is going to be 3 bases versus 3 bases. At some point, Dimaga definitely needs to take up that 4th base. He does have a 17 drone advantage, and also training 13 Roaches at a time. And I believe Dimaga will be able to get up to maximum food very quickly, perhaps in the next 4 minutes or so. Colossi are being added. You can see a Stargate being added as well. 2 Colossi. I do not think the Twilight Council is yet in play. So with no Twilight Council, the Colossi will be stuck at level 1 weapons upgrade. Stalkers on the move. We'll see what's going to be happening here, as we now see 4 gateways being warped in. with a couple of photon cannons as well to try to protect against anything, against roaches and zerglings if they try to knock on that back door. Changeling also making its way out. That changeling never gonna be able to morph into a zealot, as it's gonna be revealed and quickly taken down. Oh, now morphing in, and is it gonna get... Yeah, it does get spotted and get taken down in just a moment there. Grubby now setting up those proxy pylons. You can see Dimaga doubly... I forgot to set myself to busy. Anyways, doubly expanding over here at the 12 o'clock position and at the 10 o'clock position as well. You can also see extractors are coming, or extractors are in position, but quickly taken down by these colossi. You can see spine crawlers are attempting to be morphed in, but they are not going to be able to, or root, but they are not going to be able to find it, as Grubby has the extended thermal lance range, and he should most likely try to cancel this, as the spine crawlers are just going to get sniped down rather easily. 3 colossi with a range of 9, able to simply destroy and take down so many units. Corruptors are now going to move in to engage, but there is a Void Ray as well, and Stalkers on the low ground. A very nice ability for Colossi, using that siege range in order to stop any harvesting from over here. There is an observer still over here as well. Roach is going to try to engage the Corruptors. It looked like they could try to chase in, but the Stalkers are going to engage as well. Immortal going to have a little bit of problem as the Roaches... Oh, nice force fields by Grubby, stopping that attack before it really got started. And Grubby playing very well, even though he was down on food, knowing that the Stalkers would be able to easily take down those Corruptors. He does have a couple of Void Rays in there as well, and the Corruptors would accidentally or most likely auto-target the Void Ray and not deal the bonus damage that it would normally deal against... it would not deal the bonus damage normally dealt against the Colossi, as Void Rays are not massive units. Stalkers still being added once more. This is still anyone's game. You can see, however, Dimaga is banking a lot of minerals, and as long as he does some smart engagement, she should be fine. But Harvester count, we now see Grubby taking a lead after Dimaga lost a lot of drones in an earlier engagement. Still a changeling hiding off over here, and it looks like an engagement is going to go down. Roach is trying to retreat. Roach is getting all torn apart there. Nice force fields splitting up that army. Corruptors, 16 Corruptors to go after those Colossi. Colossi are getting taken down, but the Corruptors simply don't have enough range to go toe-to-toe against all the Stalkers on the ground. It looks like that last Colossi will get destroyed, and now the Corruptors are running away, but the Stalkers with a nice blink able to chase them down. And Dimaga is in trouble. 70 food worth of roaches in addition to 16 food of Zerglings now being added once more. But it may be too little too late, as there's one Colossus here. Stalkers look like they're just going to push in straight. Zerglings and roaches need to engage while those Stalkers are trying to focus down onto those spine crawlers. The Stalkers could easily just blink back now. Roaches and Immortals, both sides battling out one force field, not going to make much of a difference, as both sides are still engaging. Dimaga not in too great of a positioning here, as Grubby has a very good concave and also has a much larger army, quickly blinking in now and going to finish off the rest of these Corruptors. One spine crawler going to perhaps get some kills, but really Dimaga is in trouble. Stalkers now going after those spine crawlers here. The Stalkers are upgraded to 1. Level 3 weapons upgrade now being added as well. Very smart blinking by Grubby now, as Grubby going to finish off the last of this spine crawler here. And now the army of Grubby about twice in size. You can now see a lot more units being trained. Spine crawlers are going to be removed around, repositioned, as Roach is getting caught in transit, trying to be misrallied into a location there. More smart blinking as well, as this hatchery is going to fall next. Dimaga, who had a nice economic lead, quickly losing now, as Grubby just moves in with mass Stalkers and Colossi, showing the power of Gateway and Robotics units. Level 3 weapons upgrade about to be completed. Another Colossus going to be added, but some proxy pylons going to get cut off first to prevent some of those reinforcements. Grubby's Stalkers are very deep behind enemy lines, and they may be able to escape. We're not sure yet. The Roaches may be able to catch up to them, but the Roaches are upgraded to 1 compared to 3-1 Stalkers. So the Roaches will have a slight advantage over those... the Stalkers will have a slight advantage with those 3-1 upgrades, Meanwhile, Stalkers are completely blinking along the backside here. Roaches will be able to handle them very easily. A little bit of a, I guess, harassment play as the Stalkers are looking where exactly they can go and see what exactly they can do. This proxy pylon over here was destroyed, and we'll see whether or not these Roaches try to do anything else. A group of Stalkers could easily blink up onto the high ground here, but there is enough Roaches there to really prevent any harassment. A Nexus now being established over here on the far side. Not your typical expansion location next. Still gateways preventing any run-throughs as well. Nicely done by Grubby. As I think Grubby just needs to figure out how to finish up this game. Food advantage slightly in favor of Grubby, but you can take a look. Dark Shrine now being added. Roaches more smart blinking underway. Corruptors going straight after the Colossus now. The Colossus is being forced to pull back. Roaches able to continue to chase. Down goes the Colossus there. But the Grubby still has an Immortal on the ground. The Immortal was able to deal a lot of damage back towards those Roaches. Roaches and now Stalkers, both sides still fighting as the Roaches continuing to just chase. The Roaches are slightly faster, but blink cooldown allowing those Stalkers to get away once more. Zealots now, or Zealot charge now being researched. You can see more units being reinforced over here. Roaches are trying to push in, trying to chase, but Dimaga is gravely outnumbered. And really just now being forced to pull back. I think Dimaga realizes that he cannot run away. If he runs away, he's not going to deal any damage whatsoever. Easy Colossus now taken down. An Immortal going to get taken down as well, but Dimaga not doing a good job getting a lot of mileage out of his units. Meanwhile, Grubby still microing, and the Roaches able to continue to do this counter push. They are upgraded 2-2 with 11 more Roaches being added. But this has been a game and a war of attrition, and Dimaga has been losing his armies much more consistently. You can see 24,000 compared to 20,000, and Dimaga, I believe, is behind in Harvesters. Yes, now down to 51 Harvesters compared to 81. Grubby, as long as he doesn't make some drastic, grave mistake, should be able to finish off this game in the next couple of minutes or so, as Dimaga is unable to replenish his forces. Taking a look, you see that the problem with Dimaga's sitting on 3,000 gas and not that many minerals. He's been training up a lot of Roaches, but he hasn't been going into Infestors. Infestor play very, very strong. They would have the level 2 weapons upgrade on those infested Terrans as well, being able to burrow across the map and then being able to just snipe down a lot of infested Terrans. The longer an infestor is alive, the more valuable it is. As you now hear Dark Templar chasing after Roaches, and Dimaga now being forced to retreat. Dark Templars and Roaches, both sides engaging. Zealots now pushing in as well. Overseers, Zealots gonna go ahead and continue this push as Stalkers and Colossi backing off once more. Zerglings chasing after those units there. Colossi continuing this fight over here. Stalkers able to blink in. Changelings being added, but not quite sure why, as there are just 2 Changelings sitting in that group there. I guess Manor Changelings, Dimaga knowing that he could not do anything in that matchup, and there's the GG. So Grubby taking game 1 pretty easily in this series. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. You can even see a fleet beacon was about to be completed, and we may have even seen a mothership or even carriers. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned for game 2.